Welcome guys to this year's XBA draft. Gonna be a quick one compared to the previous versions. No live stream and no voting this year because we are starting to wind the series down. We're losing a little bit of our viewership, so we figured this would just be in the best interest of everybody to kind of speed this process along, get us into year 5, and then see where we go from there. But I worked with our moderators to kind of put this draft together. The team selections were determined based on need, skill level, best player available kind of thing, whatever fit their team. I think the moderators made a lot of wise, smart decisions. Can play the tiebreaker, so I think everybody will be happy with how the draft turned out. But let's get this thing going and let's get it underway. Got a lot of guards in this draft. Big guys might fly off the shelves early here, but we'll see how it goes. Cincinnati Chili Dogs will open up with the #1 overall draft pick. So there's going to be 37 picks in round 1. And then I selected the rest of round 2. We got free agency at the end of the video as well. All right, Shamon Hargrove will be the #1 pick for the Chili Dogs. They needed a big man. They needed a power forward. Right now, Thaddeus Young was their starter, so Hargrove should step in right away and play very well. Second pick overall, Jin Hao to the California Dragons. Dragons were desperate to get a big-time center. He should fit pretty well out there for California. Shakir Nader, going to start a power forward for the Sting. Probably going to slide Draymond Green into that 6-man role. But I like what I saw to Nader. And then maybe a controversial pick here, Calvin Hobbs to Miami Night Owls. Tatum was playing power forward last year. And you see on the screen, Hobbs, instant offensive player. Miami's got 2 free agent picks to work with as well. Marcel McFly going to drop down to the #5 slot. So McFly slid a little bit, but the Chili Dogs compare him up pretty well with Killian Hayes. All right, Juan Bautista Larrazabal, not out of Albany State, out of Spain. He's going to go to the Toronto Stags and start right away at small forward. So he's got a pretty well-rounded game. All right, the next small forward off the board will be Cedric Machado Rainford out of Manhattan, the Jaspers. He's a local guy. He's from Manhattan. So he's going to play and again start right away for Detroit Power, no doubt about that. Claycius Nash going to Oakland. So the top center left on the board. Or no, he's from Oakland. Oakland University, Golden Grizzlies. But he's going to go to Vancouver. Vancouver, they had too many guards. Preston Burnside, the guy whose stock rose quite a ways out of the XBA 2 ranks. So he's going to have to fill in for LeBron James if that's possible. But Jamison Kendrick going to slide a little bit. XBA 2 season was kind of hit or miss, a little hot and cold. But he's still got a lot of potential and a lot of skill. And the Bandits, they have enough guards, but that's kind of just a value play there. Kari Lyons to the New York Neon. I expect Lyons to probably get a lot of minutes. And I liked what I saw in the showcase game with his 3-ball and his range. All right, Magnus Peterson going to the Jacksonville Jump out of Norway. So not Davidson University, but well-rounded player. Can't complain too much. Jacksonville didn't need a point guard. Okay, Javon Kendrick going to the Las Vegas Jacks. He's a big guy, 7'2" center. Jokic's contract is up after next year, and we'll see if they can keep him. All right, Hiroshi Okada could be a steal here for BC Chicago. He's kind of that well-rounded passer kind of guy. Liked what we saw to him. Pluto Pierre is a power forward, small forward out of Virginia. So that will help what the Martians are trying to do. They're going to probably try to sign another big man to round this team out. Camden Cunningham going 17th overall, not 16th. 17th overall out of UConn. The scouts like him. They like his upside, it looks like. Jameer Sikora going to the Alaska Chill. Could get a lot of valuable minutes right away at point guard with no Gilgeous-Alexander, but we'll see in free agency if the Chill can get something going there. OJ Cooper, kind of a needs pick here for Detroit. Needed some help at power forward and center. Had a lot of guards, a lot of good point guards. Silas Meissner, that's with an N, Meissner. Small forward drafted by Phoenix. I think he's got a really good shot, and it looks like he's got some athleticism to him, too. Hiram Hemsworth, point guard out of Utah State, going to San Jose. Could challenge Bruno Versace for that starting point guard job in San Jose. I wouldn't expect that. Would expect that to happen. All right, Justice Bettis. He's going to stay local, out of San Diego State. He is going to get drafted by the San Diego Cyclones. Dropped a little bit maybe from where people thought, but he's going to go 22nd. All right, Rudy Hollow out of Tulane, defensive player. Philly doesn't have a lot of needs, but he'll help in that regard. Cameron Ranger, Ohio State. SoCal Supernovas going the small forward route. Best player on the board. KJ Summers also, at this point, probably was the best player on the board. Shooting guard, St. Louis. The Arrows select Summers. All right, Horace Hill. Love his motor. Love that defensive-minded skill set that he has. A lot of hustle there. Horace Hill going to go to Denver Summit. Seems like he would fit pretty well with Denver and what they usually try to do. AQ Taylor is kind of the project guy, but they like his upside. He was really young, obviously playing last year for the Sizzle. He was the sixth man for the Sizzle. AJ Creighton, point guard out of course, Creighton, going to Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh's got, they might lose Brogdon, but they got 3 point guards now. We'll see how the playing time shakes out. Myron Bones out of Tulane, 6'10", going to Kansas City. Should get some minutes there. Jack Dowd, shooting guard, out of BYU to Washington. Washington, another team that doesn't have a lot of holes, so they went with the guy that they liked the best. Joe Beck played last year for the High Risers at center because they had no size, but he was 6'9", so he held his own there, but his natural position, shooting guard, small forward. Michael Fisher was the best center left on the board. Nashville needs somebody for the future at that spot. They have Hinrich out of Germany, but we'll see if Fisher is any better. Lederman going to Montreal, shooting guard. This is Ronan Lederman. There's 2 Ledermans, of course, but out of Israel. The other one played college at Kansas. Joaquin Fredrickson, maybe not the best player on the board for Detroit, but he has 13 badges. And that's kind of why the mods went that route. Another power forward for Detroit. Joey Shabadoo to Vancouver. Again, value pick. Vancouver's got a ton of guards, but Shabadoo would now give them 6. 6 decent options there. So Maverick Blitz, point guard out of UCLA. You guys make too many point guards. You guys make too many point guards. There's another one. Andrew Donovan. He's not 6'10". They were trying to figure out what position he wanted to play, and he kind of switched from small forward to point guard. So he's not that big, okay. And then the final pick in the first round will be Demetrius Edwards, George, going to Atlanta. And might contribute right away. We'll see. All right, guys, the ratings here. Now, a couple ratings have to be a little bit different because the XBA 2 guys, our plan was always to import their DNA post XBA 2 progression. So that's kind of how that goes. So Shaman Hargrove, just for reference, is an 82. So he was the highest rated overall player. And then when I made these 2 guys, Larathable, Machado, Rainford, I gave them a few too many badges. And I didn't realize I gave them that many badges. They're supposed to be in the low 20s, but Preston Burnside also a 76, not a 70. So after his progression at XBA 2, he became a 76. So we're gonna import all the XBA 2 guys DNA into these players. Some of the ratings will change. So like Magnus Peterson is a 76. I think Kendrick was still an 80. I'll go through that later. We do have the season preview, guys, so we're gonna go through all the coach game plan depth charts, and you guys can see what all the rosters are looking like in a different video later this week. Don't have enough time to get that today because I have to, there's a lot of work in resetting all the rosters and all that. So like Horace Hill should be a 74, I believe. AQ was still 75. So that's what we're looking at, guys. Let us know what you think. Did these teams address what they needed? Did they not? Were you disappointed? If you don't see your player yet, probably round 2. And if you don't see them in the round 2, then we'll see them in XBA 2. So let's go over to round 2. So I did this one all on my own. Ja'Cory Jerickson. So Jerickson was not a 69. He should be, I think he's a 72. But he had Rosens, Kanahui to the Vortex. Chili Dogs take Zephan Holland just for the best player available. Dax Karsten to the Jacks. Jump takes Xavier Carter. Cobalt Andreas to the Stampede. Yeah, Houston Creed and Rudd. Rudd might have been a bit of an oversight for me because I didn't realize he was that high on the board in terms of his rank. But he was a 74, and like I said, there's so many point guards in that 72 to 74 range, so I just had to make some calls. But Rudd might be a guy to watch there. Just looking down the board a little bit, Ian Hyven to the Neon, Quincy Waugh to the Neon again, Preston Nash, Royce goes to the Martians. Nikhil Chuk, so he's a 69, but he's got a really good three-point shot. So I think that's what the Cyborgs like for him. Lions goes to the Bruisers. Ratty Ankles with a lone selection for El Paso Peppers. You got Pinker to the Gateeks, and Amari Bridges as your Mr. Irrelevant this year. So let us know what you think about that. If you don't see your guy around too, they will be on an XBA 2 team near you. Let's check out the free agency here. You guys saw this from the previous video. That's what we were looking at, guys. We got all these guys here. Only enough for one wave, one round, quote unquote, of free agency. So everybody's going to get their free agent. But if you don't luck out at the beginning, it's going to be slim pickings later. Let's start with DeAndre Ayton, the biggest player on the board. These are all the teams that are needing a center desperately, and teams that Ayton would theoretically want to sign with. And Ayton is going to sign with Toronto. Toronto Stags making a splash here in free agency again. You add Larothable, Ayton with Hendricks. They might have a team. They might have a team. And then maybe the Boston Pilgrims wish they were still there. All right, James Weissman, who is an 89 overall. So he's progressing very well. He will latch on with the Denver Summit. So Rhymes Porter going to play power forward since they're going to lose Markkanen. So they were looking to replace somebody in that mold. All right, Jaylen Brown, one of the biggest names on this board. He's going to sign with the Las Vegas Jacks. So the Jacks are a very deep team with that addition right there. Brandon Ingram, the other one that's a big name, 91 overall. Detroit Power. Almost was thinking Chicago, Detroit. He's going to go with Detroit, and that might revamp what they have on that team because they don't have a lot going for them right now. They've been in rebuild mode for a while. Klay Thompson getting up there in years now, but he's still got that sweet three-point shot, and he is going to sign with the New Orleans Neptunes. So if you guys remember, you had Lillard, you have Kawhi, and now you have Klay. Do we actually have a super team building in New Orleans? They missed the playoffs last year, so go figure. Gilgeous-Alexander is going to sign with the Miami Night Owls. That's a big addition for Miami. If he's going to play with Kozlov and Calvin Hobbs, Tatum, Mitchell, okay, Gilgeous-Alexander, not bad. Roscoe Todorovic going back to free agency, previously with Baltimore, signs with Pittsburgh, so that's a big one. So the website I was using kept giving me database errors, so I went with this different site. Lauri Markkanen going to sign with the Jacksonville Jump, so that's the first pick for the Jump off the board will be Markkanen. All right, John Collins, power forward center, leaving town here in SoCal. He's gone from Anaheim, and he will sign with Seattle. Seattle Martians will take John Collins. All right, Andre Drummond, center. Los Angeles on track to lose Drummond and Griffin. Drummond's going to sign with the Neon. That could be a very big under-the-radar kind of move. And Nikola Vucevic, Miami wants him back, but he's going to go with San Jose. So San Jose, you got Wendell Carter, could play power forward. So Love, Carter, and Vucevic. That's a big trio there. All right, Sabonis. Have not seen the Cyclones come up yet. So not a great free agency right now for San Diego. And Sabonis is going to sign with the Night Owls. All right, Nurkic leaving Jacksonville. He's going to go to the LA Leopards. So the Leopards get their center back, different center, Yusuf Nurkic. Okay, DJ Anthony. He's young. He's good. He's a 79. So he's a kind of guy that teams really are going to want. And he's going to latch on to this rebuild project going on in Vancouver. Decent call there for DJ Anthony. Like Vancouver's future, but it's going to take him another year or two. And Hassan Saka as well. Spent 1 year in XBA 2. And then after this year, he's now a 79. So Saka's getting a lot better really fast. And he's going to go to the Jump. So Jacksonville had a pretty good free agency here for the first time ever missing the playoffs. Now Blake Griffin is an 82, I believe, right now. Alaska Chill take Blake Griffin. And he's going ring chasing. He's going to go team up with Giannis. All right, Malcolm Brogdon, point guard. Leaving Pittsburgh, gonna go with Kentucky. And that's interesting because that might move Raheem Savage into, might move him into that six-man kind of role because you got Garland and now Brogdon. But they get a lot of minutes regardless. John Wall is gonna go to Carolina. Not sure what he sees in Carolina right now at that age, but hey, Carolina's trying to win games too. So you're going with John Wall for the veteran. Chris Paul, the other veteran point guard, on his last legs for sure. He's going to sign with BC Chicago. So that was between Chicago and Cincinnati, and he's going to go with Chicago. So Chicago gets two new shiny point guards, Chris Paul and Okada, in this offseason. Karis LeVert up next. goes to SoCal Supernovas, and they're going to want to stretch the floor with him and shoot some threes. Kendrick Nunn up next. He's an 80, so he's not chopped liver here. Going to the Wisconsin Bandits. Not necessarily a need for Wisconsin, but they couldn't get any of the good big guys, so they just got the value there. Bertans going up next. Houston Lawmen. Go Davis Bertans. Derrick Rose, another veteran point guard. Where's he going? Atlanta. So they're going to, I guess, need him to replace John Wall. But, you know, Atlanta's got Edwards George, and they got Azari Woods, and Jabari Jackson can play point guard as well. Devontae Graham will sign with the Chili Dogs. So there's a good depth piece there for the Chili Dogs. They get their 2 free agents off the board. Eric Bledsoe, again. We got all these 34-year-old point guards, 34-plus-year-olds. Honolulu Riptide will take Eric Bledsoe. Now, my guy that I made coming over from Europe out of Bosnia is Tomislav Lankar. Going to sign with the Basket Hounds. He's a 77 overall. We'll see how he does. We had some mixed results last year with the Euro guys. You know, Levanauskas was kind of a bust, but Roscoe was decent, and Bossi was pretty good. Finally, the San Diego Cyclones get a guy, Esteban Zapata, out of Argentina. So he's another created Euro free agent. And then my last one here is Thiago da Silva out of Brazil going to California. So we'll see how these guys play. We'll get a look at them in the next video with season preview. Kyle Lowry up next. You want to talk about old point guard. He's like 38 now in this dynasty. It's like 2023. So Kyle Lowry is off the board there. LaMarcus Aldridge going back to El Paso. So, yeesh, El Paso loses Ayton to free agency, and the best that they could replace him with was to get LaMarcus Aldridge back. So, not a good free agency there. Dario Saric is coming back to the XBA. He's going to sign with the Alaska Chill. And then Aaron Holiday, pretty solid player, but, you know, there's point guards aplenty here. He will go to San Diego. Al Horford. Gee, I wonder where he's going. Wisconsin Bandits. And Malik Bishop will be the last player in this first wave of free agency. Bishop was one of the better players in XBA 2, and he will sign with Tampa Bay. All right, now we're left with the playoff teams here. Harrison Barnes, he's going back to where it all started. He was drafted by the New York City Slickers, and now he's back. Rondae Hollis Jefferson's up next. So you get, this is like the scavenger round, okay? Everybody's like picking at the carcass of the Baltimore Cannons. Hollis Jefferson off the board to Washington. We got Will Barton, Cincinnati Chili Dogs. So Cincinnati gets their second free agent pick. So Cincinnati got an extra pick with the playoff teams in the back here. Frank Ntilikina is going to sign with St. Louis. I don't think Gold's going to be very excited about that one, but your new starting point guard for the Oklahoma City Buzzards will be Frank Ntilikina. Danny Gold, XBA 2 player, signs with Nashville. He saw some decent progression. Kent Bazemore will go to Montreal again, back to where it all started. Justin Jackson left on the board. We got 2 teams left to make their selection here. Philadelphia will get Justin Jackson, and then the final player will be Edmund Sumner, signing with Kansas City for a depth piece. So guys, that is the draft. That's free agency. I hope you guys found it interesting. And we will have in the next video, probably in a few days, it's going to take me maybe at least until the weekend to get everybody's rosters set up the way they need to be. We'll go over every single roster. We'll go over every single XBA 2 roster as well, except for Sizzle and High Risers, because I need to find out which prospects want to play there this year. I assume you guys would want to, because we don't have XCAA. If you want to play with, if you want to see your guy in action before next year's showcase game or whatever, you might want to get them on the Sizzle or High Risers if you won a prospect last year. Okay, guys, like I said, we'll have preview this weekend, maybe Monday. And then after that, we can start simming games. That's what I want to see. I thought team with the best free agency, you could say Jacksonville. You could say, I mean, I liked what the New York Neon got with Drummond. I thought Pittsburgh got a big win too with Roscoe. I think Pittsburgh's gonna, well, I think Roscoe is gonna have a bigger role. I think he might flourish there. And the other obvious winner would be New Orleans and Miami, because Miami adds Gilgeous-Alexander and Sabonis. Okay, so we're talking we're talking starting lineup for Miami right now would be Gilgeous-Alexander, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Calvin Hobbs, and Domantas Sabonis. Sixth man, Artem Kozlov. And you still got Hardaway Jr. on there as well. Miami's going to be pretty filthy next year, I would think. And then New Orleans, if you talk Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, and Damian Lillard, and you're going to tell me New Orleans is not making the playoffs next year again? I don't think so. I think they're going to be a clear 1 or 2 seed in the Western Conference. Depth could be a problem for the Neptunes, though, as well. And for the draft, who do you guys think won the draft? Because I thought, Detroit and Vancouver kind of sped this rebuild process along with all the draft picks they acquired. I like what Carolina did, actually. I like Preston Burnside. It's going to 76 overall. Might not raise it too many eyebrows, but we saw what he did with the sizzle, and he can really take over, start scoring in a big way. And also, I mean, there's some guys, like the international guys like Howe and Larathable, guys that people don't know too well, but I mean, they got really good games, and I think we saw that in the showcase game. So we'll see how they play. Toronto also was able to revamp their team quite a bit with Larathable, AQ Taylor, DeAndre Ayton, and they already had a very young nucleus, because you guys remember the Boston Pilgrims. You're talking Kane, Cardoso, Dimboya, Fultz, Hendricks, Daquan Bowers the third as well. So I like what Toronto. I think Toronto might be a playoff team, but we'll talk more about that, like I said in the other video. All right, guys, we are signing off.